Ever found yourself staring at a sentence wondering if it should be quick or quickly? Yeah, you are definitely not alone. English adverbs can be super confusing, but today we're going to crack that code together. We're going to break down all the rules, the weird exceptions, and everything in between so you can start using them and feel totally confident about it. So here's our game plan. We'll kick things off with the basic transformation, then we'll really get into it and crack the adverb code with 5 key patterns you need to know. After that, we'll look at some really tricky pairs that trip people up. I'll share one golden rule to avoid a super common mistake, and then we'll wrap it all up with a quick guide you can save. Sound good? Let's do it. All right, let's dive right in with the big question, the one that probably brought you here in the first place. This is the core puzzle, isn't it? Why does quick become quickly, but fast just stays fast? It seems totally random, but I promise you, there is a system to it. And by the time we're done here, you're going to get it, and this will never confuse you again. So, first things first, what even is an adverb? The easiest way to think about them is as words that add detail. They're flavor words. They answer questions like, how did it happen? Or, in what way? How did she run? She ran quickly. How did he speak? He spoke loudly. See? They just add that extra layer of information, and usually they're just adjectives wearing a clever disguise. Now, here's the secret that most people don't realize. English adverbs aren't as chaotic as they seem. Most of them actually follow a few predictable patterns. Once you learn these 5, you've pretty much cracked the code. So let's break them down. First step is the most common rule of them all. Seriously, this is the one you're going to use about 80% of the time. And luckily, it's wonderfully simple. For most standard adjectives, words like quick, loud, or slow, you literally just tack on an ly at the end. That's it. He drove slowly. She spoke loudly. Easy enough, right? This is your go-to move. Okay, pattern number 2. What do we do with adjectives that already end in the letter Y? Well, for these, there's a special little transformation. The rule here is super consistent, which is great. You just drop that final Y and you swap in ILY. So happy becomes happily. For example, the children played happily. And easy becomes easily. He passed the test easily. You just trade the Y for an ILY. Okay, you're going to want to watch out for this next one. For adjectives that end in IC, like tragic or basic, the rule changes. And this is a really common mistake. Here's the trick. You don't just add ly, you have to add ally. That extra A is absolutely crucial, and it makes all the difference in pronunciation. And this gives us words like basically, tragically, and economically. You can really hear that extra syllable in there, right? Basically. And just to keep things interesting, because it's English, there's one major exception here you just have to memorize. The word public does not become publicly. Nope, it's just publicly. Why? Who knows? It's just one of those quirks of the language. All right, our last 2 patterns are basically a pair. They're like cousins, and they follow a really simple swap rule for words ending in able and ible. For both of these, you just change the final E to a Y. That's it. So comfortable becomes comfortably, and possible becomes possibly. Just a nice, clean little switch. Okay, so we've covered the main rules. Now for the fun part, the rebels, the rule breakers. Let's dig into the adverbs that love to cause confusion because they look similar but mean totally different things. So let's finally solve our original puzzle. Why doesn't fast change? Because it's an irregular adverb. Words like fast, hard, and late look exactly the same whether they're an adjective or an adverb. And then you have the most famous irregular of all. Good becomes well. Please remember this one. You do something well, you don't do it good. Now for those tricky pairs. First up, late and lately. Late is all about time, arriving after you were supposed to, but lately has a totally different meaning. It just means the same thing as recently, so you can't swap them. They're not interchangeable at all. Okay, pay close attention here because this one is huge. Getting this one wrong completely changes the meaning of your sentence. To work hard means you're putting in a lot of effort, but hardly is a negative word. It means almost not at all. So if you tell your boss you hardly work, you're saying you're lazy. Big difference. And our last tricky pair, high versus highly. High describes physical height, a plane flying high in the sky. Highly, on the other hand, is used for abstract ideas like degrees of respect, skill, or recommendation. So you would say someone is highly skilled, not high skilled.
Okay, so we know how to form adverbs, but it's just as important to know when not to use them. Let's cover one golden rule to help you avoid a very, very common mistake.
Here it is. When you use verbs related to your senses, like taste, look, smell, or feel, you need to follow them with an adjective, not an adverb. The cake tastes great, not greatly. You look beautiful, not beautifully. Why? Because you're describing the thing itself, the cake or you, not the action of tasting or looking. Whew, all right, I know that was a lot of information, so let's wrap this all up with a handy little chart that you can use as a quick reference guide, especially for those tricky pairs we just talked about. Here it is, a quick cheat sheet. Just remember, lately means recently, hardly means almost not, and highly is for those abstract ideas. If you can nail these three, you will avoid some of the most common adverb mistakes out there. And there you have it. The adverb code is officially cracked. But knowing the rules is only half the battle. The best way, the only way to really make all this stuff stick is to actually go out and use it. So my question for you is, which of these rules or new words are you going to try to use this week? Give it a shot.